Hello, and welcome to the first episode of a Mossy Walk knitting podcast. My name is Carrie, and I am coming to you from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where I live with my partner Paul and my small gray tabby cat named Gwen. Yeah, welcome to the first episode. I'm really excited to be here and to be part of a community that's inspired me for many, many years. And yeah, I hope you enjoy your time here. A little bit about me. I am currently a student at the University of Alberta for environmental science. Over this summer, I'm working as a summer student for an environmental consulting firm based out of Edmonton. And as far as knitting, I've been knitting for 7 years, maybe longer, on and off with like my intensity. I'd say I've gotten very into knitting within the last 3 or 4 years, where I've really started to hone my skill and not just make blankets and scarves and stuff, make garments and things that require learning and fiddly things. In the last, I want to say year, maybe 2, I've started to dabble in spinning. As you can maybe see up here, I've got my current spinning stuff. I have 2 drop spindles and I'm not actually sure what it's called, the one where you spin in a bowl. And then I also got one of the e-wheel mini, electric eel mini spinners, so I use that as well. I'm primarily a knitter though, so that's what you're going to be seeing primarily. Yeah, I just realized I forgot my most recent work in progress, so I'm going to grab that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just realized I had said work in progress, but what I meant was finished object. But before we get into that, I'm going to start this with what I am wearing, and I had to go and grab this because you don't know, it's very hot where I am right now. We're having a bit of it's a spring. We have hot springs in the prairies. But yeah, so this is A Girl's Best Friend by Isabel Kramer. It is a beautiful shawl pattern. It is knit out of fingering weight wool, and this is knit out of 100% alpaca. Baby alpaca, I think both of them are. So this one here is a knit crate that my friend actually gifted me. The chestnut color here, it's called chestnut. It's 100% baby alpaca, and it was by Baby's. I don't know how you say the brand. I think it's Baby. Bebe. B-E-B-B. B-E-B-E. In the color chestnut, and it's wonderfully soft, beautiful. This yarn had actually inspired this whole shawl. This grayish purple, as well as this dark brown, cool brown, are both Cloudborn fingering 100% alpaca. This dark one is espresso, and then the light one was called Prism. I got them on sale when they were going out of business. Yeah, so it's a beautiful shawl. It's knit. I think it's just a very standard construction with a triangle where you cast on very small amount of stitches, and then you just keep increasing until you have all of them on the needle at one time. I think it's a beautiful shawl. I very frequently wear it like a scarf. I don't want to bump my mic, but you can see I will wear it like this very frequently. This is how it's displayed in most of the pattern pictures as well, and I think it's really beautiful like that. It's very warm and soft because of the alpaca, and it's really wonderful for spring and fall, or if you're in like a cold office or school or something. It's really, really lovely. As far as knitting it, I enjoyed it. It was a bit of a slog. So I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can. Yeah, you can see there's sort of like these little eyelets with decreases, little teardrop pattern. Hopefully you can see that. And that took a long time. That pattern with the chestnut was a bit of a slog, I'm not gonna lie. And I wish maybe that so I ran out of this dark color, and I wish I hadn't, because I would have liked to have made this end piece maybe even double what it was, because I find when it's around me, I sometimes want like a bit more length on it, like width, I guess, length down my back on it. And my other complaint with this was that, so the end piece here is a knit 3 purl 1 rib, and I think I would have maybe done knit 3 purl 2, because as you can see, it tends to roll on the edges here, which like a block and an iron usually gets rid of it, but I find because it's kind of like it hits my elbow right there, that I kind of assist in its tendency to want to roll up. So that's my only, if I were to knit this again, I would change. But I love that I made the choice to make it out of alpaca. I think that it would have been, it would have been less valuable if it was made out of wool, because I think the fact that it's so light and so warm is really where, in my opinion, alpaca shines in like in garments like this, where you want it to be very light but also very, very warm. So that's what I'm wearing, and I will try and keep it on. I don't think it's too hot for it. So let's talk about my first finished object. I wasn't really sure kind of where to start or stop with this, because obviously like I have many finished objects that you guys haven't seen. So I'm just going to start with just one, and then you can keep watching from here on, because personally what I love about podcasts is I love seeing it just start from like the seed, where you get to see the person kind of be like, oh, I got this cool yarn, I saw this beautiful pattern, and then sort of the planning process, and then like the life of the garment all the way to the end. I love that satisfaction and that inspiration, and I love watching other people's planning processes and things like that. So I'm just going to show you the one. I'm going to talk about it, and then we're just going to move right into normal podcast fun time. All right, so this is it's called A Festive Doodle, or The Festive Doodle. I think it's A Festive Doodle by Caitlin Hunter. And I knit this for my partner. Dun, da, da, da. So there's the monstrosity that is an all-over colorwork sweater for a 6'2" male. Yeah, it took me about a year. Mostly it took me so long because there were periods of time where I was in school and I had exams, and I just like didn't have the headspace for this. So I would set it aside for long periods of time. But of like active knitting, it probably only took me, a month or two of like normal knitting time. Yeah. So I did make some alterations. My gauge, so okay, first things first, the yarn that I used oh, I forgot who makes it. So it's 220, Highland 220, I think it's called. But it's the fingering version. Who makes that yarn? I can't believe I don't know. Cascade 220, the Highland fingering, is primarily, so this gray color, this dark blue, and the white. And then I think it was called charcoal, navy, and white. And then this sort of like almost cobalt sky blue was called Storm, and it was the Cloudborn Highland fingering. Cloudborn Highland fingering, yes. So that was that. And my gauge with this, as you can see, like it's, yeah, you can see my finger through there. It's a very loose gauge. So the Cascade fingering is, for all intents and purposes, a light fingering, and the pattern is a fingering. And I was very determined to make that work because I was knitting for my partner. He likes wool, but he finds it very hot. And so I wanted to knit something that would be very airy. Like this whole thing probably weighs like 300 grams. Like it's very, very light. Very light. And I knew because it was all over color work that it would have that double layer, and I didn't want it to be sweltering. And so I wanted a really, really loose gauge. So I ended up having to go up, because I think the body is typically, or in the pattern, it has it for a US 4, and I knitted on a US 6. So I had to go up quite a bit to get gauge because it was so loose. So it's a really, really airy and light and see-through fabric. Even like, yeah, like it's really light and airy. But he really likes it. So, and I don't think it's too hot. I think it'll be like, it's still wool, so it's not a summer garment, but I think it would be really nice for spring and fall for him. If there's like a bit of a breeze, I think that it'll be perfect for that. Some modifications that I made are quite a few. So in the pattern, it has the short rows under the yoke. So it has them like, yeah, like think right here under this motif here. And I don't like the way that short rows there make the garment fit. I think it creates like bunching right through here that I just don't find nice. So I chose to do my short rows. This is the back. I chose to do my short rows before the first motif. And I did 2 sets of them actually. So I like to do my short rows in the ribbing. I find that just makes a really nice kind of invisible short row. So you can see you can see hopefully like the thickness difference between the ribbing at the front and the ribbing at the back. I don't know if you can see, it's so airy, it's hard to kind of even distinguish in the camera. And then I also did another set underneath the ribbing, because in my mind, where you actually need the length is at the back, right at the neck. And then you just need to make sure that there's not going to be that really high neckline. because I hate when it rolls right up there. It's terrible. So that's one modification that I made, and that was a fairly easy modification. What other modifications did you make? I had to add a whole nother motif. The pattern says to repeat this motif as many times as you need to get the length on the arms. But I thought if it had way more than the body, that it would look funny. So I didn't do that. I just did the same amount that was on the body. And then I added a whole nother motif. So I repeated this motif, and I changed the background color. So if you can see, it's a little bit different just because the stitch count is different, but that's what I pulled my inspiration from. And then I think I actually messed this up a little bit, but honestly, you'll learn very quickly. Like I'm not a perfectionist. I realize that like I'm the only one that's going to notice mistakes. So if I can live with it, I will not go back and I will not fix it. Yeah, you can see how there's less stitches on the blue there. Here, I'll show you so you can actually see what I'm talking about with the mistake that I made. Yeah. I might go back and duplicate stitch over this just to make it look. But, I mean, he's worn it a couple times and he hasn't noticed, so I doubt anyone else will. But yeah, other than that, I didn't make any modifications. I just knit it. And yeah, it was actually it was fun. It was a slog at times, and there was times where I didn't even want to look at it because I kept having to, like, I finished the normal here, and then I did a ribbing, and then it was too short, and then I had to pull back and knit more and pull back and knit more, and I just felt like I was constantly pulling back and knitting more because he's so tall. And so it was a little bit just like, I don't even want to look at it right now. I'm just done with this project. But it felt so good to finally have it done and to see it on him and to have it blocked. So it was like, before it was blocked, it was too tight on him. So I was kind of discouraged about that as well. But once I blocked it out, it looks a lot better. And yeah, I'm ecstatic to have it done. I think he likes it. I think he'll get wear out of it. Maybe not this time of year, but maybe like come August, he'll start to get a little bit more wear out of it. And yeah, that's that. I love knitting for other people. You will quickly learn. I'm a big gift knitter, so it makes me feel really good when I give people gifts and they like them and use them and stuff. So that one felt really good to get off the needles. And yeah, I think that's the only work in progress I'm going to show you, finished object that I'm going to show you, because let's be honest, it's a pretty cool finished object. A full fingering weight, light fingering weight all over colorwork sweater. I feel like that's a pretty good like first podcast. Oh, here's my cat. Her name is Gwen. You want to say hi to the camera? You want to say hi to the camera? Oh, you're pulling it. Oh, this is too dangerous. I'm gonna let her go. But yeah, I think that's I think we'll just jump into my works in progress. So I have 3 works in progresses. Currently, whips. I have 3 whips, and yeah, one of them isn't really in season, but we're just gonna go with it. So the first thing I'm gonna show you is just a pair of socks. I love to knit for other people, as I just said, and my family really likes knitted socks. So I try to, it's usually around this time of year that I start thinking about knitting socks for everyone. So usually I'll try and have at least 1 pair of socks on my needles at all times from the summer until Christmas, which is usually when people get a pair of socks from me. So right now I am knitting a pair of socks for my partner. I knit a pair just like this, and he actually requested it because he said he liked it. So it is the retro sock. I don't remember the designer name, but I'll put it down here. And I'm knitting it out of, the main color is this West Yorkshire Spinner Signature. If you can hear noises, that's my cat. She's just fiddling around. In the color, so the Signature 4-ply, oh, I don't know if you can, oh, that is blowing out so much. Come on, there you go. Oh, I left the price tag on there, oh well. In the color Nutmeg, actually, not Cinnamon. Oh, I shouldn't touch that, sorry. I've got you balanced on some boxes. And it's this beautiful color, and it's nice. I love it. And I'm also knitting it with the Pro Lana Stockin Wool Unni. I don't know if I said that right, but every time I read it in my head, I read it like that, and that's probably wrong, but I think it's funny, and hopefully no one is offended by that. I mean, no offense. It's a color 405, which is just a gray color. I dropped the ball band. So together, those two look like that. And then, where's the actual finished sock? So I have one finished sock, and I'm yet to cast on the second one yet. This is what it looks like. It is just a pretty simple 3 by 1 rib with contrasting heel, toes, and cuffs. But the cute part about it is that rather than just having a contrasting cuff, you have a regular colored cuff, and then you just have these two little stripes of the contrasting color. And I think it is a super cute little sock. And yeah, I'd knit it again. It's a little, for me, I like just the vanilla sock to knit personally. I feel like I like when socks are my mindless project. But it is nice to have a little bit of something. And I do find that the ribbing just makes a nicer fitting sock. It is 64 stitches on a 2.25 millimeter needle. And I decrease, so me and my partner both like a tight fitting sock. So I knit my socks actually usually 58 stitches for the same fingering weight with the 2.25 millimeters. And if it's a sport weight, I'll go down even more. So I like a tight sock, and he does too. He doesn't like it to be tight up here though. So I do 64 stitches up here, and then on the gusset, because this is a heel flap in gusset, on the gusset, I'll decrease even more. So I went down 4 extra stitches. And then, so this part's really thin. And then I actually also, for 20 stitches, so from here to here, I actually went down from a 2.25 millimeter needle to a 2 millimeter needle, just so it's really tight on the arch. He likes tight on the arch. And then I went back up to the 2.25, but with the same decreased amount of stitches to finish the end part with the toe. It's maybe a little bit short on him. I'm hoping it kind of blocks this way. And then yeah, I don't do a very tall cuff because I find for myself and for him, if it gets too tall, it itches and it kind of just falls down. So I don't like a very tall cuff on the sock. I'd say that's a crew. I don't know. I don't really know sock lengths. I just knit them till I'm happy with them. So that's that. As for what it's in a Bulk Barn grain bag. You will learn very quickly. I'm not fancy with my bags. So it's just a cloth bag from Bulk Barn. That's that. you will see more of that. I don't know if I don't like deadlines when I knit, to be honest. I know a lot of people do, but I just work on things as I work on things. My only restraint really with my knitting is I try and keep the amount of whips that I have on the needles at a minimum. But like between them, I just work on them as I feel like it. I think I got everything. Hopefully I'm hitting the right information that you want to see. If not, leave a comment down below and tell me what sort of stuff you'd like to see. My second work in progress is camisole number 15. I think it's number 15. Let me do a quick check here. Oh, I don't even have it open. Yeah, number 15. By My Favorite Things Knitwear. I'm okay with where I'm at. What do I mean by that? I mean, I guess I mean how fast it's going. All right, so let's start with the basics. Gotta get the hang of this. I am using this lovely yarn to knit this. So this is Holt's Yarn Super Soft in the color Willow. I'm holding it single. So it is airy. It is 100% wool, and it's quite a woolly wool. It's not like a merino. I don't actually know what breeds are in here, but it's a warmer wool. It's not like a superwash or anything like that. And I wanted to experiment a little bit with this one. So I think a lot of people understand this. I don't like knitting with plant fibers, really. I find it really hard on my hands, and with plant fibers, typically you want a thinner weight, so you're knitting more stitches, and I just feel like it adds up to quite fatiguing on my arms. So I wanted to try to see if I could knit like a summer weight wool, and I wanted to see how hot it would actually end up feeling. Like, can I wear this when it's plus 30, or is this way too hot? So this is my experiment with this one. So I'm knitting it with what is very much a light fingering. Some would even classify it as a lace. On Ravelry is listed as a light fingering, but it's thin for a light fingering. And as you can see, maybe you can't, it's actually not that bad. And this hasn't been washed yet. So like you can see my finger through it. So I would definitely have to wear something comfortable, like something I would feel comfortable people seeing me in underneath, because it is quite see-through. Currently, it might, it will, okay, this hasn't been washed, and Holt is it has spinning oil on it. So it will puff up when you first wash it, and it hasn't been washed, so it will puff up. I don't know if it will puff up enough to make this, oh, now you can't really see it. I don't know if it'll puff up enough to make this wearable. I'm hoping it will, but it's pretty see-through. That's okay, because I'm comfortable just like wearing a camisole underneath, and then I don't think that will add that much warmth. Okay. Talked about how it was an experiment. Needle size. So the pattern called for a 3mm or a US 3, which confused me because a US 3 is 3.25 millimeters. Either way, I am knitting with a US 2.75 millimeter needle. So it's smaller than it said with the gauge that I got. So I have a 37-inch bust. And with the gauge that I got, I decided to knit the third size. So I'm knitting the third size, but I actually ended up all over the place with the sizing. I'm very much kind of just go with the flow. I do gauge swatch, but I don't know if I don't gauge swatch correctly. I feel like when I do a gauge swatch, I wash it, I lay it out flat, and it dries, and then I take that gauge and I knit a garment, and then I always find the garment's too big. It stretches out and it's too big. So I don't know if I just don't personally like a lot of ease, or if you're supposed to like stretch your gauge swatch out. I have no idea. So I always kind of just wing it. Like I do a gauge swatch, and then I'll look at the recommended size, and I'll usually knit down from that. So for this one, I had knit all the way to here, and the amount of stitches that I had across didn't even equal this size 1, I think. Oh, I don't remember. I had to do something funky with the amount of stitches that I cast on. And I think the amount of stitches I have on the body now equal the amount of stitches for a size 1. But when I went to pick up these stitches for the side, I picked up for the 3rd size, and I cast on the front and the back in line with the 3rd size. It fits. I've tried it on. It fits really well. I found it a little bit cinched in, which I know I could like have blocked out. So, but just to be safer than sorry, because I don't want it to be too far down, I cast on more stitches on the double knitting section here than it had called for. And I think it looks nice. So yeah, I wanted to see how the top looked before I finished the bottom. So I broke the yarn and I just picked up the stitches on the armhole and kept going from there. I think it's beautiful. I think I love the color so much, and I love the design, and I think it will be very wearable if it's not too hot. However, it has been a slog. It is very small needles. It's very tiny yarn. I don't think I would ever knit with Holt's held single again. I feel like to get a gauge that I was actually comfortable with, I would have to go down like past 0, to be honest. Like, I don't know if I'm just a loose knitter or what, but yeah, typically I'm not a loose knitter. Typically I can get gauge pretty easily with the suggested needle size. But this yarn, I just feel like it's thin, and I know it does bloom, but from my experience, it doesn't bloom all that much. And so I think it's really nice held double. It makes about a DK sport gauge. But I don't think I would ever knit with it single again because it's just too small for my liking. I'll say that. It is too thin. Because yeah, even on, this is 2.75, it's way too loose of a gauge for me, I think. But I think it's beautiful. I love the color, and I'm really hopeful that it will work and not be too warm. What else do I have to do on it? I have to finish this double knitting. I have to do the same thing on this other side. And then I have to pick up and knit the ribbing at the top. And then I have to just knit in the round forever until it is the length that I want it to be. I would say I still have this same amount again plus a smidge before I will be happy with the length. But I do currently, so I work in the field, I think, with this job. I just started last Monday was my first day. And so far I've been in the field, so far I've been in the office. And I've been watching a lot of training videos. And so I was able to knit on this at the office, which was nice. I think this week I'm still going to be in the office, but I think I'm going to be writing reports. So I don't think I'll get as much work done on this. as I had in the past week, but I'll keep trugging on it, and hopefully I will have it done for the hot for summer. I want to test it in the hot season. If not, I think it'll be a really nice spring with like something like this over top of it. But that's my goal. Me trying to get away from knitting with summer yarns, knitting with plant fibers. So I'm hoping that something like this will be nice. I definitely don't think I'd be able to churn these out, right? So even if it does work and it's not too hot, because the nice thing about cotton or linen or something like that is you can knit with like a sport or a DK and it could still be quite light, versus this where you're doing, it might be as equally light, but it's so many stitches. I don't know. I gotta debate. What do you guys do when you want something that you can wear in the summer, but you don't want to knit with plant fibers? I was watching Mel Make Stuff. She just put out a video about plant fibers, and she was saying that she finds that up until 50%, she doesn't really notice that it acts like a plant fiber. So I was thinking, I know like Holtz has a half wool, half, I think it's half, 50-50, I'm not sure. I don't know the percentage for sure, but they have a blend of cotton and wool. I was thinking I could try that. But I know that Salma from Little Big Knits has said that she doesn't like the Holtz Coast, I think it's called. So I'll have to look into that. But yeah, that's an option. Let me know what you guys have found about blends and if they're equally as cool or cool enough, or yeah, let me know. Please interact with me. So that's that one. And we're on to, I think, my last one, which arguably is the most exciting one for me currently, right now in my life. It is, however, wildly impractical for the time of year. And I know that everyone is very excited about spring and summer knits and plant fibers and tops and lace and all that stuff. And I, because I'm crazy and like that, I have decided that I'm going to knit a bulky weight rustic yarn sweater, of course. I am knitting the Alsk Polar. Oh, that's all pattern. Sorry, one sec. Here's some better color. By Linka Newman. Well, it's from her Wilderness Knits book, the first one. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I love it. We had a cold spring, and I saw this pattern, and I saw a couple other patterns from this book. And yeah, I was just like cold, and I had already cast on my my cami, and I was just like, man, I just kind of want to snuggle up and feel good. And I don't know, something about this book just drew me in. The Scandi style sweaters for adventuring outdoors. I mean environmental science, and other than knitting, I'd say my top hobby, not to shade knitting, but I'd say my favorite thing that I would do all day, every day if I could, is hiking. I love to hike so much. And yeah, just like the back of the book, she's like in the woods with a dog, knitting, and while wearing wool. I was the exact person that they were marketing this book to. And I obliged. I bought the book. And they have some beautiful, beautiful patterns. Like, oh, they're beautiful. My particular favorite that I'm going to knit next. Oh, I love this headband. I don't know if you guys have seen this book, but it's beautiful. So there's this lovely headband. So pretty. And then she has sweaters for dogs, which is like adorable. I don't think this version actually has it. I think her book 2 is the one that has the dog sweaters. which, like, when I get a dog, which I'm gonna get a dog soon. My apartment and life and out of town work and everything, but I love dogs and I want a dog. I'm gonna get the second book. I'm gonna name my dog a sweater. Oh, this one. It's called Matawaka, and it's beautiful. That is stunning. I want it in those exact colors, exact yarn. And yeah, here in this photo, she's like rock climbing or yeah, she's actually rock climbing, not bouldering, which is beautiful. I really want to get into rock climbing. Oh, it's just a stunning sweater. Here's in a different color. Ooh, I'm mic'd up, so I keep bumping. I don't want to show you the pattern, but look at that. It's so pretty. Okay, now that I've finished gushing about this beautiful book, let me talk about the pattern, which I've already said is the Alsuk, A-L-A-S-U-K-Q. Oh man, Alaska? Might be Alaska, but spelled funny. I don't know. I'm knitting the polar version. She does have, I think not in this one, but in her second book, she has a DK or a worsted version. And then that's her light. Maybe she has a fingering version too. I think that this is one of her more popular sweaters, so I think she has a couple weights. From this, I am knitting the third size because it had said the chest was 101 centimeters and my chest is about 30, or in centimeters, be 93 and a bit. So I wanted it to be oversized because my goal with this one is to wear it skiing. So in the wintertime, hobbies, so when I can't hike or cycle, which is another hobby I like to do outside, I like snowshoeing, and I also, this last winter, got really into cross-country skiing. And so I want something that I can wear on a really cold day, cross-country skiing, or yeah, just like kind of to replace a coat. I don't know if it'll actually replace a coat because when the wind, you can be sweating buckets in the cold in a wool, and then the wind will rip through and it's like you're not wearing anything. So I don't actually know how hardy this will be in the cold, but I'm hoping it'll be really good for our weather, which we get really cold. So yeah, I'm in the prairies of Canada, so we don't have like the ocean or the lakes like Toronto or Ontario, or sorry, I guess Toronto or Vancouver would have to like sort of buffer their climate. So in the winter, we can get down to minus 40 degrees Celsius easy. And then in the summer, we can get up to plus 40 easy. So we have pretty aggressive temperature swings. So I have to be ready for anything. So what yarn am I using? I'm using a new to me yarn that I've never tried before. So this is a bag I got at Goodwill. It doesn't have a designer name. It doesn't have anything. There was no tag, no nothing. It's just this adorable owl. And it's like my big item bag. I just put like sweaters or shawls or blankets in it or whatever. I might take this off. It's getting kind of hot. Okay, so I'm actually using, this is one of them. This is my main color, is Tinde. Hilsvag Olvar Fabric Tinde. So this one, from my understanding, is knit with a specific type of wool, or spun from a specific type of wool. It's like a gray pelth wool, a Norwegian pelth wool. Or maybe it's a Norwegian sheep and then they're using the pelth wool. I don't know, but it is a beautiful color. So this color, Pelselgarn, Ils Turkis. I'm sorry, I don't know what color it is. You can see how gorgeous it is though. Like you can see those beautiful gray undertones. Makes me so happy. I love this color. I love this color. I love this color. So the pattern calls for Blaine, I think it's called. Alice, okay, so the pattern itself, the designer knit it in Alice Wolpe, which is an Icelandic wool. But it also says that you can sub Blaine or the other bulky weight one from Hillsfug that's not colored. That's just the gray color, Blaine or something else. Sorry, I don't remember. I'll hopefully remember to put it down here. I purchased this from a Canadian supplier called Farm to Cable Yarn. And she didn't have any of the Blaine in stock. And she didn't know when she'd be getting more in. And so, even though the gauge for this wasn't perfect, I bought it and I ended up holding it triple with half a mil larger needles, and I got gauge with it. So that's that. But as you saw, there's a bunch of other colors, so I'm going to talk about them. I actually did a really good job of using up scraps. I don't want you to see that yet. That's the surprise. So I'm actually using more of this baby charcoal. So the knit crate came with 2 skeins, and I only ended up using a skein, or not even a full skein. So I had more of this. So this is chestnut alpaca in Babe by the brand Bebe from Knit Crate many years ago. Well, 2 years ago in March, because my birthday's in March. And then I'm also, this is Briggs & Little, because it wouldn't be a Canadian podcasting without Briggs & Little in every episode. This is just their Regal, which is their worsted weight, in black. I'm holding it double, and it's a little bit thicker than the others, but it's working fine. What else do we got? We got this. This is whole. Again, I'm holding 4 of these together. Same with the chestnut. With the alpaca, I'm holding 4 strands together. Because I wanted to use up stash. I didn't want to buy, and I don't have a lot of bulky weight yarn, and so I'm determined to use up stash for this project. And so far it's going well. This is the color Scotch Pine, and it's actually a really beautiful color. I don't know if it'll pick it up, but it's got like grays and blondes and different kinds of, let me see how close I can hold it without, yeah, you can kind of see how beautiful it is there. It's a really beautiful color. I might open my blinds to see if I can get more light. A better idea of it. Yeah, it's so pretty. While I'm at it, why don't I just show you this one again with the better lighting, because it's gorgeous. Oh, yes, look at those grays. Love this one. Put you back up here. There you go. All right, and one last color. I don't actually know if I have the ball band for this one. Yeah, I do. One sec. Oh, I'm sorry. Bear with me. Disappear for a bit and come back. Okay. So here's my little ball band jar. So this is, I saw it right there. The color I use. This is Cloudborne Fibers 100% fine Highland wool in the color Taupe Heather, which is beautiful. I love it. I think it's a gorgeous yarn. I honestly am kind of upset that Cloudborne went out of business. I don't know anything about it, but I like their yarn. It pills a bit, but it is soft. So this is that color. It's pulling out a little bit. It's a little bit more like that kind of color. Again, I'm holding this one 4. So I'll show you them all together because, I mean, oh, already. Oh, look at those. Look at those. They're beautiful together, aren't they? I love it. These colors, like this, I feel like this color makes my heart sing, you know? Like that's the color. And I think that they look beautiful together. So I have only just started this, so I don't have too much to actually show you of the knitted object. But I finished the first stripe. So, sorry. Ta-da! Ta-da! I dropped a ball. That's fine. Oh, I love it so much. I think it's so pretty. Like, I mean, I really wanted to do this like blue color, but blue is honestly kind of out of my comfort zone for colors. Like I'm much more into like yellows and reds and browns and greens and kind of things. So like when I was gonna go with this blue, like I think it looks nice, but it was just kind of a lot. So I needed, I guess for my own comfort, to have those neutrals that I could return to. But sorry, I'm kind of seeing it from like afar for the first time, and I think it's so pretty. So pretty. Oh. Yeah, it's so pretty. So the one thing I've already kind of messed up though is when I was knitting, I wasn't sure, I should have checked, but I wasn't really sure what this chart was gonna become. And so when I knit color work, I hold, normally I'm a continental style knitter, but when I knit color work, I will hold one color in my other hand and I'll knit that one English. English is a lot slower. So typically I disregard like dominant coloring and I just whatever in that row, whatever color will be knitting the least, I'll hold in my other hand, in my English hand. And then it's quicker, which I regret because on this one, I never held the chestnut color in my dominant hand. So the chestnut color was never dominant, which you can see, I think. Like I wish I had known that this would be the one that I wanted to pop, and then I would have held it in my other hand. I still think you can see it, and I'm hoping when I block it, you'll be able to see it more, but now I know, going forward, look at the pattern, see what motif I want to pop, and then I'll make sure to hold that in my other hand. I'm hoping it'll be oversized. I think looking at it, it looks a little bit small, but I know my knitting just always tends to stretch out over time. And so I think that it will be okay. And I think I could just kind of stretch it out a little bit with the blocking. But yeah, I think it's beautiful. Oh gosh, yeah, I'm really happy with that. I think it's really pretty. Notes about the pattern yet? No. So far so good. I didn't do the ribbing here quite as long as it wanted. It wanted 7 centimeters of ribbing, and I just thought that was too much ribbing. So I did about 6 centimeters of ribbing, and then I moved on. This is going to be the bottom part, so it's bottom up, and then I think it's a circular yoke. Actually, just looking at the pattern on the front here, it looks like it might. Yeah, it's not a drop shoulder, so I'm guessing I knit the arms next and then join them and decrease up. Hopefully I have enough yarn because I'm using a bunch of scraps and stuff. And the shipping for this one was expensive. I mean, shipping in Canada is expensive, just the way it is, you know? Okay, so that's that. That's in my head I say ask, but I don't know if that's right. That's my ask polar. I know it's not the right season for it. I know I'm going to finish it in the heat of summer. However, it's just what I wanted to work on. And, you know, like sometimes, some days, most days, most days, you gotta just cast on what you want, because that's what it is, you know, like knitting's for fun. And so do what's fun. And this was fun for me. And it's bringing me joy. So that's that. So those are what I have on my needles. And to be honest, I think they'll take me a while. However, like Mel from Mel Makes Stuff says, my second hobby is planning. So I have, of course, some things in the work that I'm planning of. I don't think they'll get cast on anytime soon. But, so my rules for myself are that when you finish a sock, you replace it with another sock. And then I try to keep non-sock projects to below 3. If they're projects that, you know, I'm just starting, or I know, like, it depends on where I'm at, that how I'll kind of justify casting on another one. Both of these are going to take me a while, I think. Like, I think I'll be knitting on these for a solid amount of time. However, the next kind of things that I'm thinking of. So here, you can see behind me this beautiful yarn. So I have these 3. That rust is kind of blowing out. Maybe not. So these are all Briggs & Little. These 2 are Heritage. This is Rust and this is Bleach, the bleached white. And then this guy is Tuffy in their gray stone. No, gray stone's like a blue. Charcoal. It's just their gray color. I don't have the ball band. Maybe it's in my... Do I have it? Ooh. I saw a Briggs & Little one in here. Oh, no, just black. I don't know. It's a gray. And what I'm hoping to knit with this is a cowl. I have... They're gone now. Hopefully you can hold the image in your mind of what colors they were. I have a single cowl and it is pink and gray. And I love the pink and gray combo. However, it doesn't go with any of the hats that I have. I have like an orange hat and like a green hat and a yellow hat. And so like pink doesn't go with those really at all. So I want to knit something, another cowl that will go with my orange and my yellow hats. And I have a couple patterns in mind. But yeah, this is, I'm mulling this over. I want to use all 3. I want the main color to be that gray color. I found one, but the main color is that white, and I don't know if I will have enough. I forget its name. I'll put a picture, and I'll put it right here. It's beautiful. The other thing I was actually mulling over with this one is maybe using the pattern from this beautiful Manuka one, like just somehow using a motif from this one and turning it into a cowl, because this is worsted weight, and these are Aran weight, so like a thicker worsted, and so I could do something like that, because I like my cowls to be tight. Like Inga from Knitting Traditions, her like philosophy on cowls, chef's kiss. They gotta be like a tight knit or felted, and then they can stand up on their own with help from your hat at the back, just to kind of keep them propped up. And then where your hat doesn't really cover that last little nib of ear, the cowl covers. And then if it's thick, the wind doesn't get through it, and then it's perfect. So I very much share Inga's philosophy when it comes to cowls and how they should be structured for cold weather. So this is something I am mulling over. If you have pattern recommendations, let me know. What else am I thinking about? I don't know if you guys don't find this interesting. I find this part interesting, so I'm just going to do it. I need the planning. I like the planning. And the mulling and the genesis and everything like that. So it starts with a need, right? Like I need a glove. And I need multiple gloves, I think, because I think I need them to serve different purposes. So I have one pair of gloves that I've knit, and it is the what is it called? Northman. It's the Northman mittens. They're great. The first layer, it's multi-layered. The first layer is color work, so it's like double layered, and then you pick up and knit like another layer. So they're super warm, and then if they get wet, it doesn't matter because wool retains its heat level, warmth, even when it's wet. So they're perfect for like really cold or from going out or, like they're great. However, in the spring and the autumn, they're too hot. So I want a lighter glove. Mitten, I think. Glove. No, gloves have the finger. So I'm thinking fingered and not the cup. I'm thinking maybe a convertible one. With this is what I'm thinking. So this is the Dura Sport from Briggs & Little in the color Oatmeal. It's not a warm oatmeal. It's like a cool gray. That's pretty accurate. So I'm debating between full on, like just a tube with a thumb, and then you have maybe like a folded thing that I can unfold if my fingers get cold, or have the actual fingers and then have the flap that'll go over and cover it if I need it to. So that is my debate with this. And I have a need for this. So this is what I think about while I'm knitting, I'll just be like, what should I knit with that, I'm thinking maybe if I could do like a normal cuff one. I forget what those are called. Just like they don't have any fingers. They have a thumb and then it just like stops there. I could do that with a convertible. Do you think that would work? Let me know. I think that would work. I don't know if I've seen it, but I mean, you just like knit a little cuff thing, right? And then you just pick up stitches, knit a cup, and then it can fold over. I don't think it would be that hard to improvise that. So maybe that's what I've kind of settled on. But there's also a really nice free pattern called, oh man, I need to get better with pattern names if I'm gonna be a podcaster. I'll put a picture and I'll put its name, and it's free and it's beautiful. And I'm thinking about that one, but I don't think my gauge is right because this is sport. But I think that's a fingering, and I think it would work. That's my top contender. But then I was also thinking about that like convertible, like the cuff thing, and then I took a pause. Other two up here are just sock yarns that I'm gonna knit socks with. This is the Salisbury sock by Namana Yarns. She's an Edmonton-based dyer, and she knits beautiful, she dyes beautiful yarn. I'll give you a close-up on her there. I saw her at the Leduc Fiber Festival, Black Sheep Fiber Festival, I think it was called. It's beautiful. This is an 80% superwash merino and a 20% nylon. I'm probably going to knit 2 pairs of this, one for me and one for my sister. It's called, this colorway is the Forbidden Forest. I don't know if I said that. It's beautiful. I'm really excited to knit it. I'm thinking like I'll do like a leaf motif or something with this because I think that would be beautiful with this green. And then I also have this. So this is Gathering Yarn Homestead Sock. So this is 80% superwash wool and 20% hemp. It is milled in Italy, and the brand Gathering Yarn is a Canadian brand. I think they're actually based in Alberta. I don't know where in Alberta, but I think they're based in Alberta. This was dyed by me with a standard acid-based dye. I have it behind me. A RIT dye, golden yellow. It was a powder. I followed the instructions. I actually added more. I overdyed this. It was just a normal white before I got to it, and I want to knit Fibertail's new pattern with it. But I have an idea with that one because, what is the pattern called, first of all? I can't even remember the pattern name. I'll put it down here. Pattern name. It has these beautiful, you make baubles and then you embroider daisies. Embroider little flowers. I find, just looking at it, it can make the ankle look a bit chunky. And so I have a thought process that I will maybe take it down the foot instead of just around the ankle so that the whole sock kind of looks puffy rather than just at the ankle. But yeah, this was like my spring sock idea. Yeah, and then the other thing I'm mulling over in my head is this. So this is Holt's again, obviously, in the color Maize. And I have 2 patterns I might knit with this. No, that's not true. I've pretty much decided. The Sumac by Orlean Such. Orlean Such. It's a beautiful textured, I'll put a photo here, Orlean Such. It's going to be knit, and it's going to be knit in this color, and I've been going back and forth on this one forever, but I've decided on this color, I have decided on that pattern, and when I'm done one of these, this is what's getting casted on. Not the sock. The sock has to be replaced with a sock, but whichever one of these I finish first, whether it be the cami or the sweater, Sumac by Orlean Such in the color Maize. It's happening. I'm gonna head out then. I think that this was enough chatting, enough talking from me. I'm hoping to post once a month. That is my plan. I just don't think I knit fast enough to post more than that. I'm not saying that won't change, but just with my life right now, once a month feels right. So I will hopefully see you guys soon. And yeah, please tell me about yourselves. Like, introduce yourselves, tell me your name, and tell me your name and your favorite flower, please. That'd be great. And yeah, I will say preemptively that it's really nice to meet you guys, and I hope, I hope we can be friends. Bye.